to answer questions today for our YouTube viewers of the highest timeline. So once you're connected in, go ahead and tell me what you see or feel or hear.
I just feel like Doctorians around me.
Do you, how are they doing today? How are they feeling?
They said they're good. They're just sending everyone so much love. Anybody listening to this, they are sending you so much love and just thanking you for all the hard work that you're doing right now.
Hmm. Well, we are sending that love right back to them. Are they able to help us today answer some questions from our YouTube channels?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to start off with a really interesting one that I liked. Can you explain, because it's used quite often, the difference of dimension versus density? Because we kind of interchange them in talking. Are they similar, different? Like, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so density more relates to the planes of existence. So there's 7 different planes. So you have like the spiritual, mental, physical plane, and then there's like densities in between that they're showing me. So, and then dimensions are more like the measurements that you have in between your realities. Like dimensions are kind of held within your reality, like, and multiple dimensions can be on top of each other. And then inside of those dimensions, you have like different densities or like different planes of existence. So, like the physical density, like the physical plane, usually manifests in certain dimensions, whereas you have like higher dimensions that manifest in the spiritual plane, but they're all working together to create your reality.
So could you technically be in the fifth dimension, but like third density?
Yes. And um it's almost like both of those things are working together at all times to create your reality, and you can it's like if you're in a specific dimension, you can still they're telling me, so we have 4 bodies. We have like our emotional, physical, um etheric, or like our light body, and our oh my gosh, what's the other one? Emotional, physical, light, mental body. So we have 4 different bodies, and we can use these 4 different bodies. Once we raise our consciousness, we can use these 4 different bodies to experience different planes of existence and also open up our multidimensional reality. So it's like our physical body manifests on the physical plane in the first and second density of existence, usually in a lower dimension as well, like the third or fourth dimension. And then you have more of like the spiritual body that is in the seventh density, and that manifests in much higher realms of existence. And they're saying that the density, it's almost like they're showing me that is the density that the atoms are actually vibrating at, and that is what's causing it to like physical density is just like the atoms being more compacted with each other, whereas the spiritual, or like the seventh density, there's a lot more freedom to flow so that you can get into those higher dimensions.
So what's the difference? We have another question between timelines and dimensions.
So timelines are usually like a certain experience that you want to have. um so if you are just a point on in the center of a circle having its own experience or having its own perspective, then at that moment you are infinite potential in the present moment. And that infinite potential creates different timelines for you when you make a choice. When you make a certain choice, then more timelines are created for you, and there are like certain timelines that you want to experience, or certain timelines that you're affected by when you're living your soul's experience. Whereas dimensions are already there, they hold the timelines within them, but we can use the dimensions to either like make quantum shifts in our own timelines, or just to broaden our awareness of our multi-dimensional selves.
Okay.
Like they're
Um,
showing me kind of, it's like they're showing me the cube again, like the cube of dimensions, and they're showing me the cube of dimensions holds our timelines. So it's like I'm seeing like the spiral staircase inside of the cube of dimensions.
okay. I'm trying to draw it as you're speaking so I can kind of understand it a little bit better. I think I've heard Matthias talk about this a little bit about the cube. So I think that that makes sense. Um, Now, what is really like, can we experience the first dimension on Earth?
No, because the first dimension is just a point. It's the I am. It's like it's the I am. It knows that it's the I am, and it doesn't even care about experiencing itself because it already knows that it is.
And then what would be the second dimension?
The second dimension is like so that point eventually does decide to spread off, and it forms the Vesica Pisces. And so then you have the second dimension that that's like the duality that was created in this experience. It's almost like they're showing me it's like the illusion of separation. That's where we get that illusion of separation. It was the first point where consciousness decided to experience itself.
Is that kind of like when you see like the yin yang and because your hands, I'm watching your hands do it, kind of looks like a link in the chain, like what your hands were doing. So is that kind of like a what we've been shown in that symbolism of the like feminine and the masculine balance and the separation?
Yeah, and so they're just really showing me like the Vesica Pisces, and the they're showing me like when you uh like when you have a baby or during conception, um how the egg splits apart into two. That's
Mhm.
exactly what the dimensions do. It decided to split apart into two so they could experience itself.
I love that. I love that. That makes actually so much sense. Um, yeah. And we had a kind of a question about that, about if the shape of the earth. And I believe you've answered it in previous sessions where you said that the earth is a cell for the greater universe. So does that confirm that the earth is round?
It's not that dimensions confirm that the earth is round, and technically it doesn't even matter what shape the earth is because everyone has their own perspective. So to some people, the earth is flat. To some people, the earth is half of sphere or a dome. To some people, the earth is a spherical shape. Um, the way that the Octurians honor and love everyone's perspective, the way that they see it is as a sphere, and it's a sphere because a planet is a highly conscious being. And so when you're having your experiences as a soul through your soul's evolution, if you're that point inside of the circle having an experience, you get to the point of such a high consciousness that it becomes a sphere, that you're no longer just like you've broken that cycle over and over multiple times, that it starts to rotate more like a torus, and it's created a spherical shape. And so planets are actually very highly conscious beings that have evolved over time.
I love that explanation. It makes a lot of sense. Um, we had a question about the eclipse season for October 2023. I guess it's supposed to be a highly charged eclipse. They wanted to know if the eclipse is passing over directly over the Earth or anything that we can know about the season.
They're just showing me a picture of the alignments of the planets. They're saying that the alignments of the planets are very important for our consciousness. It's not so much that they're saying this is a really great day to set your intentions. Like, they're saying that there's a lot of, it's like the planets are coming together in flow, or like the moon and the sun are coming together for flow. So this is just a really good time to set your intentions. It's
Now,
almost like the sun is illuminating the moon behind it, and the moon represents intuition and mystery. So it's like the sun is bringing awareness to like what we already intuitively know is true. It's like it's bringing awareness to all of the mysteries that have been hidden on Earth. So they're saying that you're gonna see a change. Well, we're already seeing a change, but you're gonna see more like ancient knowledge coming to the surface.
along with the ancient knowledge of Antarctica.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Like, lay it on us. We need some new information going through. So I know that our calendars have been manipulated and changed, and like some, different parts of the world use different parts of the calendars. So when they talk about portal days and stuff like that, like I don't I rarely give energy to it because I just figure like it doesn't even matter because the days aren't even right anyways. So what do you have to tell us about some of those like profound days as far as like portal days and numbers? Like do they hold meaning or do they not?
They're saying yes. Um Mostly because it's belief. It's the belief that you're giving that day is so important. The intention that you're giving that day or that portal is so important. Um, Instead of like getting really excited that things are gonna happen, think like more honor yourself during that portal and be aware of the different energies hitting the planets, because there are like the stars, the alignments of the stars are bringing in different energies to the earth. And so it is good to just be like aware of these things. And you can even see in your star maps that, like, if you start to question these things, you can see in your star maps that all of these planets are aligning, or that certain portals are opening, or even different galaxies you're in alignment with, as we really start to anchor these different frequencies, and Earth is starting to flow, be in a loving flow with the entire universe as you become galactic citizens.
Hmm. I can't wait. Now, we had a question about astrology now that we're on this subject, and that the Westerners tend to use tropical astrology, and the rest of the world uses more of a Vedic system, which I believe is from Orion, if I understand correctly. Um, so, what's the difference between the two? And also, is astrology purposefully being manipulated?
Yeah, they just sent me this vision of, it's almost like the pyramids aligning to Orion is like the key. It's hmm.
Are you having an aha moment?
It's like it's coding. It's like the Giza pyramids aligning to Orion and Orion's belt. It's all so deeply connected, and it's like coding for the matrix that we're in.
Hmm. Explain a little bit more on that because you have piqued my interest.
I have no idea what they're trying to show me. Um, yeah, they're just saying maybe like more will come back as I keep talking, but they're just saying that Vedic astrology was very important because that is kind of like the ancient astrology staying alive, and it's still here to remind us of like our truest nature and our truest being because it works more with cycles. And so that's why it's more important to look into Vedic astrology. You can, I mean, they're saying that there are good parts of Western astrology, but for the most part, when you're looking at your birth charts and things like that, usually you'll find a much greater resonance with Vedic astrology and Eastern astrology is because they kept a lot of that like occult knowledge, like a lot of that ancient wisdom alive in their astrology.
So has astrology, because I know it's like, I'm in California and Hollywood tends to kind of woo-hoo the crap out of spirituality. And some of it's good, some of it I just don't resonate with. But has it been purposefully manipulated?
Yes, and that's why you never feel connected with your astrological sign that you came in with, or why most people don't resonate with most of the information when they read their horoscope, is because most of those things have, especially in the Western culture, most of those things have been like highly manipulated with or tampered with so that we don't want to explore why we came here, or when you start to explore your astrological chart, it opens you to the reason why you came here, the lessons that you came to experience. It gives you a lot of power over how to create your reality based on the lessons that you wanted to experience in your life. And when you really learn about your birth chart, you learn that life is happening for you. All of these experiences are happening for you based on what you wanted to experience in this lifetime.
Mm, yeah. I mean, perception is key, correct? It's such a great way to perceive it is it's happening for you. And we need to be reminded of that at times because we get wrapped up in all the distractions here. So I appreciate that reminder. Is there anything you can tell us about the planet Atlas?
They're showing me like a planet of giants. It looks very foresty. It almost feels like Jack and the Beanstalk.
Um,
Um, but they yeah, it's like loving giants, very peaceful giants.
are they related to the Anunnaki, like just a split off of their DNA or different?
They said they're different.
Yeah.
They're saying that there were these same giants did come to Earth as well. Um, so like on Earth there was good giants and there was the Nephilim, but these giants also came to Earth when the Pleiadians did.
It's really interesting because in the Bible they talk about giants and Noah and everything. And then I find sometimes that like religions they have a hard time believing in like these like anything you talk about galactic is like, oh no, it's from Satan, And it's like all this stuff was talked about in the Bible too. So I have a hard time in understanding why spirituality is such a crime in the religious community. Just my tangent. But they did any of the giants survive the flood that happened here?
Yes. Yeah. So some of them went into the caves. A lot of them went into the caves, or like a lot of them already lived kind of up high in the mountains away from people.
Okay, so do they still exist, like hidden away?
Yes.
Okay. We want to send them love and that they're able to be protected. Do they use any kind of like shielding, cloaking energy to hide their like location?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so
Okay.
they're showing me they're giants, but they're highly um they it's not that they use like a lot of technology or anything, but they are very connected to the earth and they are very connected with their spiritual abilities. It's like I'm seeing a picture of a giant and his third eye is just radiating.
Is this were there actually cyclopses or I think that's the terminology where they had the big eye in the middle, or was that just a terminal like a depiction of the third eye?
They said both, so this there are those types of beings, and then also that was a depiction because giants, like they use their third eye for cloaking, and they use their third eye to like be very sensitive of what's around them, and they can like sense danger or if other people are coming, and it helps keep them very well hidden.
Well, I hope that they are I'm just happy and feeling the love and doing okay with the ascension. Are they able to ascend with humanity to the fifth dimension?
Yeah, it's so funny because I have really been reading like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth again. And in the Emerald Tablets, Thoth talks about how he's with the dwellers, and the dwellers are basically the gods that not the gods, not they weren't gods, but like the extraterrestrials that were kind of guiding him along the way. And it's like I'm just seeing the extraterrestrials that were here to help build civilization. They're hanging out with these giants too.
Are they?
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of fun to hang out with a giant and be in that scene. Oh my gosh. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can access it at any time. We just have to work on those abilities. Now, the question was about the YouTube viewer saw, I guess was in Key West and was like 3 a.m. in the morning and looked up at the sky and saw like this gray, smoky thing in the sky. The best way they described it was like a Dementor from Harry Potter. But they wanted to know what was the purpose of seeing that entity.
It was there to awaken you or to just like make you aware of something that was very off balance for you in your life to make those changes. Like it was like something shocking needed to happen to put you onto a different path.
Now, have other people seen this type of Dementor thing? Do they use it? Do the guides use it as a helping quite often?
Yeah, or like you can ask these beings like there's no good or bad or like dark or light. So a lot of times we're all working together. It's not that it's bad or good. It's like you can call these beings in to help you.
Right, right. Understand. Um, and then the karma recycling on Earth, they want to know how do they know about blockages? Like someone who doesn't channel, how would the best way for them to find out about blockages they have?
Definitely meditation. Meditation where you're checking in with the chakras. The chakras, as you start to open those and release them just by putting your awareness on them, then all of these densities or all these things that you're holding on to come to the surface. You can also be asked in your to be shown in your dreams what is blocking you or what are you still holding on to in your dreams. You could also do like channeled writing where even on your phone you could just write out like what do I need to be aware of, what is holding me back, what is my biggest block around love, and just start typing and to see what comes to you.
Now, can they have the question, can earthbound souls, not star seeds, but earthbound souls ascend karma and remove ancestral trauma?
Yes, absolutely. And there's many earthbound souls here that have done that. It's just it takes usually earthbound souls are not either they don't have that soul experience that most old souls have. They're more like newer souls that are beginning their evolution. So it's a lot easier for them to like get caught up in this karma. But there are a lot of earthbound souls that are fully in their spiritual abilities, that are in their sovereignty, that understand how karma works.
Now, I have a question. Can I ask? It's personal about my daughter, and I'm okay with the public hearing this.
Yes.
Okay, so she told me yesterday that she has a dark entity that's been with her since we lived with my mom. And I knew about the portal at my mom's place. So I wasn't surprised. But I asked my daughter if she wanted me to remove it. And she said no. She said she's told it can't harm her and it doesn't harm her. It just wants to stay with her. Is there anything that I should be concerned about or any advice from my Octarian family that they can help me with about navigating this?
Yeah, they're just they're like or I could see it. Um yeah, they're just saying it's not to harm her. If anything, it's to she's very spiritually gifted and it's almost like it's teaching her how to step into her spiritual abilities.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I explained to her she could ask it if she needed protection, um, and to not fear it. And I don't really fear it. I just don't want anything leeching off of her energy. Like I just want to make sure that her energy is hers. And but if it's a teacher, what advice can you give me to having the conversations with her and working with that entity?
Do you want to call in your daughter's higher self?
Yeah, let's call in her higher self. Let's call Scarlett's higher self in, please, to help us understand. I think this would be a great teaching tool for anyone who has children that have the same types of things. So if she's willing to help give us information on how, as a mother, I can help Scarlett work and be empowered with this energy.
Okay, your daughter is very she's it's almost like she understands how the darkness works and this darkness protects her. So when we talk a lot about how you can ask the darkness for protection, that's what your daughter does, and that's why she has no fear around it. And it's like she can call in the darkness for protection. And it's like this being has been protecting her over and over and over.
It's very interesting because I talked to my daughter about like praying and like talking to her guides, and she doesn't really want to. Like she's got resistance in the conversation. So I just try to allow her to be free in her space. I just want to be guided, like how to really do I need to just let her navigate this on the own and come to me, or do I need to drop little chicken nuggets of information, or what can I do?
Yeah, your daughter's energy looks really good. Like she is a really bright light. She's definitely radiating her light outward and everything. I just think that she really understands um she just has this very intuitive knowing of these kinds of things. It's really interesting. Like they're saying there's nothing to fear, and it's almost like your daughter's superpower.
Yeah, and she sees the world, and it's not like she's cynical, but she like kids her age, she doesn't understand because she thinks they're not. And I'm going to say it in a word that's not a huge reflection, but she thinks they're idiots because
Yeah.
she's like she sees them, and she's like, I don't get why they act that way. Like she has a very objective perspective of why things happen in this world. So she said that my mom came and visited her the other day, but it wasn't my mom. It was something showing as my mom. So was it this I had the intuition that it was this entity um trying to seem more comforting to her by showing up as her nana, but I don't know. Is there something else there?
No, that was something else, and that was like she is starting to that's why it's so important for her to have this protection is because they're saying that these spiritual gifts are really starting to open up for her, and so she is going to like be in communication with them. So they're saying that to help guide her, just to be very open about like how these different things can start speaking with her, and just know that like as long as she is the light, nothing can fear. And you could even like work with her on like maybe some kind of energy protection or something, but it's saying like that the one that's there to protect her is there to protect her while she like works through these spiritual gifts. So the one that came as the mom, that was kind of like it was almost like contracted as like her first initiation almost
Mm,
of developing her spiritual gifts, and it's really important for her to develop her discernment for sure.
that
And she's
makes me really
here
excited.
to sorry, she's here to help us send these back to the light.
Okay. All right.
So like
And
when that being came to her, she could just be like, she could help send it back to the light.
it's funny because I talked to her about Archangel Michael, and I was like, he helps take. I said, me and my friend, we help take beings, anything to the light. And I love Archangel Michael does that. So, I guess I'm on the right track. I'm proud of her for having discernment and like trusting her intuition that it wasn't my mom and really tapping into that. And she says my mom is with her too. So just confirmation if that is the case. Does my mom is around her quite often?
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like your mom is the angel protecting her, and then this like darkness is the dark protecting her. It's like she has the dark and the light protecting her completely. And it's almost like I'm seeing it's almost like she's done this so many times that she doesn't even need to call in Archangel Michael. It's almost like she can do it herself.
I love that. So is she Octurian?
They're saying, like, angelic Arcturian. Like, she has been
Mm,
Arcturian before, but she's very connected to the angels, and that's why it's easy for her to send these things back.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. I didn't mean to hijack. I just figured this was a great learning opportunity for myself and for anyone with kids that, I mean, our kids have such abilities and that they're walking into this world with. So I just appreciate you helping answer those questions. That's all we have for the Q&A. Is